everyone. So this weekend is our neighborhood garden walk and I am really excited. So we moved into our home in 2020. There was a garden walk. It started in 1969 and it happened every year until 2020 and then just came back last year. So this is going to be my official second year participating in the garden walk, but it is, well, it's tomorrow and Sunday, but when you see this, it'll be the Monday right after the garden walk. But don't worry, because I am going to film all of the stunning gardens as I walk around. I think there are 53 total that signed up. There's one that has a 2 or 3 story waterfall in the backyard, and I will definitely show you that one as well. So if you want to see what was on the garden walk, stay tuned for that video next. But what I need to do today, because unfortunately, anyone on the garden walk can't see my gardens because they're on our 3rd story decks. There's no outdoor access to them. Like if we had a giant staircase and people wanted to come up outside, I would totally be down with that, but they can't unless they come through our house. And I honestly probably won't be here for most of the garden walk because I am on the event committee. So I will be running around taking a bunch of photos and videos for that as well. But to kind of make up for people not being able to see my deck gardens, I will have some plants down there. There's a few plants in our parkway that are on the struggle bus, but I make mini bouquets with the flowers from up here, some from the grocery store as well, but shh, don't tell. And I put them down so that when people are walking by, they can grab a little bouquet, and people loved it last year. Now I do what I call giveaway bouquets, which are a little bit larger throughout the season in general, but usually that's maybe 2 or 3 bouquets at a time. I am making at least 32, probably more, for each day, for Saturday and Sunday. They will last until they run out. Now, when I make the giveaway bouquets, there's usually, I'd say at least 10 plus flowers from my garden. They're usually in a little bit larger jars. I got small jars specifically for the garden walk, and I'll show you them up close in just a second. But because I want to make so many, this is a larger volume than I normally do, I'm probably going to use 3, maybe 4 flowers from my own garden, just so I have enough. So there are 32 in the pack that I got. I'm honestly probably going to make a few larger ones as well. And then I'm going to make a batch tonight. So it's Friday now. I'm making a batch for Saturday. Saturday night, I'm going to make a batch for Sunday. I could do them both now, but I don't know how the ones that I made 2 days earlier will look. So that's my plan. And I think with today, I'm going to use mostly the flowers from our front deck, which are a bit more vibrant, brighter colors. And then for Sunday, I will make bouquets from the back deck. So I'm going to show you the ones I make from the front deck, but you will see the bouquets I make for Sunday in my garden walk video. So let me talk through what I'm using. First off, like I said, I have some flowers from the grocery store. So I realized last year that I wanted some more filler flowers because I have a lot of, well, what you wouldn't consider filler flowers, like dahlias and zinnias, where it's one stem and a giant flower. I did get, though, a lot of good recommendations for things that I have in my garden to use as fillers. Herbs were recommended, the leaves on the cosmos plants were recommended, and I might actually do some of that as well. But this was super easy just to get a bunch of baby's breath at the store. So this is the only thing that's not going to be from my garden. I'm going to put that in first. And then I have this China Aster, which just started to wilt out of nowhere, and it wasn't getting any better after a few days. Water wasn't an issue. It's in a bed with other plants, and those are all doing fine. No signs of pests, no signs of the disease. The root ball looked fine when I pulled it out. So I don't know exactly what happened, but last night I took it out of the bed. I stuck the stem in this jar. It's kind of perked up a little bit, but I'm going to use these flowers because I didn't want them to go to waste. So now let me take you up close and show you the vases that I'm using. These are the vases I got. And like I said, I got these from Amazon. They're 2 separate packs. I think it is 32 in each pack. I think they're marketed for like weddings and mini bouquets that way, but there's a wide variety. Some of these are really pretty. If I didn't already have way more vases than I can even use, I would probably save some of these, but some are a little bit larger like this. And then some are very small like those. But I think with baby's breath in all of them, and then again like 3-ish flowers from my garden, they look really cute. So these are the ones for Sunday, which is why they're empty. These are the ones for tomorrow, Saturday, and I did fill them with water. Now I made a mistake last year of missing a few of these, And then when I came out the next day to take the bouquets down, some were wilting. So I went through and I'm like 95% sure all of these have water in them. Now, one thing that was different last year is because it was the return of the garden walk after a few years hiatus, it was just Saturday. It was only one day, I think it was Saturday. So I only made one round of these, but I even think with the amount of flowers I have in my garden, like I'm still gonna have a bunch left over. But again, I'm using cut and come again flowers. So I need to harvest these, and the more flowers I harvest, the more flowers my plants will continue to produce. So for me, it's like a win-win situation. People get a really pretty bouquet, I have something to do with all the flowers that I need to harvest. Now, one thing that might be an issue, obviously my gardens are on the third story. These need to go down to the sidewalk, which is at ground level. So I will have to carry all these down. I'm keeping them in the box that they came in because I think that will be the easiest. The only thing is I'm afraid of like water spilling and maybe making the bottom of the box not as stable, but I didn't have any plastic bins or anything like that. Maybe I'll try to find a workaround, but I will save that for later when I figure out how to take these down. But first I'm going to go through and add the baby's breath. I'll take you outside and I'll show you which flowers I'm gonna grab. We'll collect those. I'm gonna use just large vases of water to bring them in because it is much cooler in here than it is outside right now. So I would rather put together the bouquets in here. So first we'll do the baby's breath. I did get 2 bunches. I'm hoping that 1 bunch is enough for each of the boxes. But again, I'm just doing 1 box today. So I have this, I have my pruners. Let's move you out of the way so I don't accidentally knock you over and feel sad. Actually, let's take you out of the way too since I won't need you until tomorrow. And I'm probably just gonna do 1 sprig. Now, baby's breath does get a little bit messy, so I'm going to have a bunch of white flowers everywhere, but I actually don't mind that. So I would tilt this box of flowers, but I don't want to spill all the water. Maybe once I gather the flowers from outside, I'll zoom you in to show you what I'm doing. But with the baby's breath, I'm just taking my pruners, I'm giving it a little snip. You know what, this side is actually falling off, so I'm gonna also snip this side off. This is gonna go in one of the shorter vases, which I know you can't see, so sorry about that. And then this is gonna go in one of the taller vases. And once I get these downstairs, I will set them on our parkway, but I am gonna have a sign that says, you know, free bouquets grown from my rooftop garden so people know that they can take them just in case they don't realize it as they're walking by. So that is gonna be the plan. Like I said, I will be there for part of the garden walk, like at my sidewalk, probably just in the morning, but then most of the time I'm gonna be walking around helping set things up, helping take things down, making sure I get a bunch of photos and videos. That is my main responsibility during the garden walk, just so we have a bunch to advertise the event for next year. Our neighborhood organization is who puts this on, the Sheffield neighborhood. It is a nonprofit, so any money that we earn from this just goes back into the garden walk for next year. There's also, I feel kind of bad telling you all the fun things that are happening when you'll be seeing this video after the event has happened. But again, I will film the event for you this weekend as well so that you can watch it. But things I'm excited about. I'm excited for architecture tours. I always just love doing that in general. In Chicago, there are boat architecture tours downtown, which is probably what I would recommend most to like people who are visiting from out of town. But even as someone who lives here, I love doing those. So they have boat architecture tours, but they do have neighborhood ones as well. And I've never really done the neighborhoody ones. I've mostly done like the downtown ones. So I'm hoping I can hop on some of the garden tours. There's also going to be musicians placed around. There's going to be artists painting gardens. There is a kid fest, a family fest that's happening kind of as the kickoff on Saturday morning. That should be really fun because there are a lot of families in the neighborhood. So I think they will really like that. What else? Oh, there's a wine tasting. So one of the neighborhood stores, they're not technically a winery, I don't think, but they are going to do wine tasting at different events or at different locations around the garden walk. So I think it'll be really fun. All right, I think you're all good on 1 sprig of baby's breath per jar. I have this much left, so I'm gonna hold on to this, again, just in case I realize I missed any. Let's clean up the excess, and then I will add in some of the asters from this. So this is the Hazaster Hagen Light Blue China Aster. I love it. I think this is one of the most unique flowers that I have in my garden, and I'm very glad I planted as many as I did, because this one, like I said, just kind of randomly died. So plants that I know I love, I do try to have multiples, just in case something happens. I always love having a backup plant. So I am definitely growing these again next year. Again, I have multiple. This is the only one that I had an issue with. So I highly recommend growing these. And then I have another one, I think it's the king size apricot, which is a similar, like very wispy shape, but it's a peach. I think there are some on the front that I will hopefully be able to harvest. I think I can take 3 more from here. 1, 2, 3. And these are really easy to strip the leaves off of, just like that, because you don't want the leaves sitting in the water. And I think I read in the book that stripping the leaves also keeps the flowers more fresh, because the plant's not taking up water trying to keep the leaves alive. It's just trying to keep the flower alive. All right. I think we're good. Let's move these out of the way. I'll show you what these look like, and we will head outside. Here is where we are at so far. So all the baby's breath, which is really pretty, and then the Hazaster Hagen Light Blue China Asters. So like I said, this is gonna be a front deck bouquet day, which means a lot of the Queen Lime zinnias from this bed. I have a bunch of Cinderella zinnias over here. I think this is also where I have the king size apricot aster, which I don't know if any are actually open enough yet for me to grab, so I might not use any of those. I have a bunch of the Mazurkia zinnias, all of these here. I have some more zinnias. These are the Envy zinnias, the lime green ones. I have more of the Hazaster Hagen asters here. I do have dahlias, and I am going to harvest them, but these are too large for the mini bouquets. So that's why I think I'm gonna make some larger ones just to have as well. And whoever walks by and is lucky enough to grab a larger one gets some with dahlias. I'm definitely gonna grab some gomphrena. From the storms that we've had, some of these are drooping down a bit, so I might cut some more from the bottom and add those in. I have some Benary zinnias here. And then I will also be grabbing some from my perennial bed. And I guess that's it, but I think, again, this is gonna be more than enough for what I need. Here's what I've harvested so far, and honestly, I think this is probably going to be enough for the jars that I have for tomorrow. So I'm going to take these inside, we'll put these flowers in the tiny vases, and then I will grab whatever else I might need. But first, these are all of the Queenie Lime plus some of the Envy zinnias, and I've been making bouquets with just this mix of zinnias, and I love it so much. So this is the Queen Lime Red. Underneath is Queen Lime Orange. This is the Envy zinnia. So this is not part of the Queen Lime series, but the lime green color of it works really well. This is Queen Lime with Blush, and I think this might be one of my favorite patterned ones that I've had, because they all are a little bit different. And then I should have a Lemony Peach. There we go. So this one is the Lemony Peach. So those are all of the Queen Lime zinnias. Then here I have the Mazurkia, and again, these are all a little bit different pattern, but all of these with either the deep or the light pink are the Mazurkias, Hazaster Hagen Light Blue China Asters, Cinderella Lilac, Cinderella Peach zinnias, and then I just have, ooh, breezy, but then I have some Cinderella Orange, a couple Dahlias, and a couple Gomphrena. All right, I've got my flowers. I am so excited to put these together. I think they're gonna be so pretty. I did leave a little bit longer stems on a lot of these, just so, I mean, obviously it's easier to shorten the stem than lengthen it, but some of these jars are a bit taller, although I think That might be a little bit too tall. So I'm just gonna go through and put these in there. I do try to, like, let's say if I'm doing all of these Queen Lime Red, I will try to put them in different vases, just so I don't have one that has only one flower in it, although I'm sure some people do prefer that look. But oh, I'm so excited for this. I think these are gonna be so pretty, and I'm hoping that they will make people walking by smile. Again, I'm going for 3-ish flowers, not including the baby's breath. And even though I harvested the dahlias, those are not gonna go in here because again, these jars are just way too small. It would look very strange. So I think I'm gonna grab maybe 2 larger vases at the end of this, make separate bouquets for that. Actually, you know what? Maybe so even though I'm part of the event committee, we do have our 2 co-chairs that are in charge. So maybe I'll leave the larger ones for them and bring it over to them in the morning. I don't know, we'll see. Now, as I'm putting these in here and it's getting more full, it is a little bit difficult to tell which ones do and don't have some flowers in them already, which is why I will bring down extras tomorrow once I get everything laid out, just so I can add in any that seem to be missing some flowers. I'll also probably bring down my pruners and just go through it. If there's any that I want to kind of cut down because they're a little bit too tall for the jars, I'll do that as well. All right, I'm almost through with the Queen Lime, and like I said, this is getting full very quickly. Trying to see where I have the empty holes. But I think you can tell, like, even if, I mean, this is definitely the most flowers I've ever grown because every year I find more spots to shove plants, even though the year prior I think I've hit my limit. I haven't. But this is just so many flowers. And again, my garden will be full of all of these that I took in a week. So even if I made a ton of bouquets for myself, which I do, I could never use all of these flowers myself, which is why I started doing the giveaway bouquets. Because again, it's not just beneficial for other people, but it is beneficial for me to be able to do something with these flowers, because I don't just want to wait till they look, I mean, I could wait till they looked a little bit more ragged and then just deadhead them off of the plants, but being able to give them away to people is just much more fun. And I think I'm getting close to every jar having at least one non-baby's breath flower. Then last, I think all of these are, yep, these are all the mazurkias. And again, I love this one a lot more than I thought. When I got it, which I got it from Botanical Interests, I thought it was more of like candy cane, white and red, which, I don't know, not usually my favorite color combination, but I wanted to give them a try because it did say they were light pink and hot pink, and that's exactly how they turned out. So this combination, I love. All right, another jar down, and then let's cut some of these. Cinderella orange. Now my Gomphrena mostly have shorter stems, so I'm sticking those in the smaller vases, though you are slightly longer. All right, left with 2 dahlias that I did not check bugs on, so there might be something crawling in there. These are one of the hardest because there's so many nooks and crannies for bugs to hide. I have had some cucumber beetles already feeding on them, which I remove with my hands, but the dahlias have been really pretty this year. I actually might grab some more. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna push these to the side. I'm gonna make 2 for the co-chairs, and actually it might be better to give those to them at the end of the day so they don't have to worry about carrying those around. But I'm probably gonna grab some of the dahlias from out back. So let me throw this away and we'll move on to those. So I grabbed some more dahlias from the back deck. I also had a little lunch, so I hope there's nothing in my teeth. But I'm gonna use these 2 jars to make slightly larger bouquets for the 2 co-chairs. So I got, like I said, the dahlias. I also grabbed some Gomphrena. This was some of the ones that were bent from the storm, so I'll use those. But first, I will use the rest of this first pack of baby's breath. So we'll just make 2 bouquets here, like that. Now the dahlias typically are harder for me to keep in place, so I think I'm gonna add those last and intertwine them through the other flowers. Well, I know that you can cut them at longer stems, but because I don't use them usually in like large displays, I like to leave as many buds as possible. So a lot of the times I will have smaller stems on the dahlias. And when they have such a heavy flower head, that can definitely make it a little bit more difficult to keep in place. I think I am gonna leave some leaves on this gomphrena, just because the baby's breath is so much white and I'm using the white gomphrena. So I want some of that green to still be in there. I am really loving white flowers just more and more this year. So from my last few gardens, if you've been here a few years, you know that I don't usually do white. I usually like as much color as possible, which is still my general aesthetic, but I have loved having more pops of white, especially when I do have so many colors in the garden. It does kind of help it to stand out. So I think I'm gonna add more white flowers to the garden next year. So by intertwining all these stems together, it does work to create kind of like a cage. So you can use chicken wire if you want to, but if I'm using clear containers, it usually doesn't look as nice. Floral frogs, stems like this. So I hope this is going to work to hold the dahlias. So this one had the longest stem without needing to remove any buds. Let's put you in there. So pretty. I think this was a fairway spur, pretty sure. You are large, so maybe we tuck you on the side. You are also fairly small, so I'm going to stick you in this smaller jar. Longer stem, dahlia in here. I'm really liking this. And then you in here. Let's see how this looks. I think that's really pretty. I'm going to shorten that one a little bit. And I think this is good for the two larger bouquets. I hope they really like them. So now I'm done. I'm done with the bouquets I'm going to use for tomorrow. I need to clean up and all of that, but they will stay in this box. I'll take you up close in just a second, but they'll stay in this box. They'll stay up here. I'll bring them down tomorrow. And I can't believe that something we've been planning for since last November is finally here. Here's a closer look at the two larger bouquets, and then look at how pretty this box is. I just like seeing it full of color. Like I said, I know I probably am missing some flowers and vases. I will worry about that tomorrow, but looking at this just makes me so happy. And I grew this. I grew all of this, and I think all of these are ones that I started from seed. All right, so that is everything for this video. Like I said, I will be filming the garden walk, so that will be the next video coming up. I will be filming both days. I'm probably gonna try to hit more gardens tomorrow, but we'll see. But yeah, that's everything. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.